In like a lamb, out like a housefly, I guess is about the most apt way that we can put this summer blockbuster season, because it wasn't even that long ago, okay? Not even being hyperbolic on this, okay? But July 1st was when Jurassic World Rebirth, which, as everybody predicted coming in, looks like it's going to end up winning the big old box office blowout, but not in the way that anybody also anticipated it. And, well, now that the Fantastic Four came out over this past weekend, I think that's about the only surprise that's out there, is that, yes, F4 isn't actually the worst of the lot. It ends up potentially being, just because it has one good act, like, it ends up being the best of the bunch. Far be it to call it a good movie or anything like that, but is it enough? Is it enough to get past that audience barrier of entry? Is it enough to just wash all of the bad taste of previous Marvel installments out of people's mouth to talk them back into the theater? Well, heading into its release weekend, apparently so, because you take a look with the Thursday previews that ended up being a little bit higher than Superman, which, when you factor in the walk-up business and then the Friday pre-sales as well, ended up contributing to an even bigger Friday than what Superman had by, I think, a few $100,000. But still, it's a bigger day, the bigger opening day than Superman had. But then we kind of got the answer as to what's going to happen with the Fantastic Four, what the Marvel Cinematic Universe looks like outside of an Avengers film, which, God, at this point in time, I think we got the answer to many questions heading into this blockbuster season, this summer movie slop down. What is the future of the superhero film? A diminishing returns, and if you aren't a marquee name, you ain't making much money, okay? Because there's a lot of things that we can suss out of these numbers, and, well, given we're about to hit the 1 month release window for Jurassic World Rebirth and the way that it's falling off, like, spoilers, it's not hitting $1 billion, not even coming close. And Superman we'll talk about in more depth tomorrow, but focusing in on Fantastic Four, it's probably going to end up having the best box office of a Marvel movie this year, but again, that isn't really saying all that much. But without further ado, Fantastic Four Thursday box office tops Superman with $23 million. Marvel scores big. Not really, because even you look at this, okay, it's Thursday box office bringing in $23 million, beats, James Gunn's Superman with $22.5 million. Ooh. But then when the receipts were counted, okay, so Fantastic Four performed better on Thursday, Friday, bringing in $24.4 million. However, yes, things stalled on Saturday and Sunday, and it didn't end up being all that great for it, okay, because we look at the box office totals. Okay, we'll take a look at the weekend box office right here. And $117 million domestic opening weekend for Fantastic Four. First Steps far and away crushes the rest of the competition. Blows Superman, blows Jurassic World Rebirth. Well, it might be the wrong turn of phrase this time around. It trounces the entirety of the rest of the box office. Full stop. Add everything up together, it doesn't even come close to what First Steps did in its opening weekend. But that's about the end of the praise, because now we get to the point of diminishing returns, because you look at that box office and it's like, the international numbers, that's not that great, man, because back in Marvel's heyday, okay, phases 3 and even the early parts of 4, before people started to realize, after their pattern recognition started to build up, that, these films aren't that good. And internationally, not even really factoring in China, because they weren't as big of a player as Disney wanted them to be. Like, they were bending over backwards in order to make the changes in the easily censorious but very important scenes. They were making them easy to cut out so they could distribute them in these theoretically large growth potential markets. But China they were never really up for this cape shit. And even still, they would only get 25% of the return on the box office anyway, so it wasn't really worth it in the grand scheme of things. But even still, with the other markets that are out there, not even getting to $100 million internationally, I remember heading into the weekend, okay, they were thinking, oh man, with all this good word of mouth, the certified fresh critic and audience scores heading into the weekend, this thing could hit 250, 275, $300 million opening weekend. But in actuality, it just barely creeped over 210, didn't even get to 225. That's what Superman got. That's not very good, because you take a look at the actuals as of yeah, as opposed to what a lot of people were talking about on Monday with your theoreticals and your projections. And well, okay, your $57.2 million preview and Friday night, that's good. Okay, that's what, $1 million more than Superman did, which at that point in time was the single largest box office day. Okay, so good for them. Fantastic Four takes that one. But then you started to get diminishing returns. You got the 42% drop off on Saturday. That's really bad. And then 19% on Sunday. I mean, it's better than 42%, but I'll be interested to see on Monday how far this falls off. And I don't think we're going to be getting those historic domestic holds for Fantastic Four because, I don't know, man, for all of the people talking all of this smack, like this is just, oh, it's such a great movie. I love that. I love the retro futuristic aesthetic. Oh, Galactus looks so cool. But even after listening to a fair number of reviews of this, like it's already gone out of my mind. That's one thing I can say about Superman. It was so horrendous that one's going to linger for a little while. But it's very much a Marvel movie, and if it very much follows that Marvel movie trajectory, even if it's more Thunderbolts when it comes to holds as opposed to, well, everything else that's out there, 60% drop off in your second week, 60 to 65% drop off, this thing's like, it's cooked. We're seeing a lot of posts out there saying, oh, look at that, Fantastic Four had a $215 million, 216 and change opening weekend. Oh, and it only had a production budget of $200 million. Is that what we're running with on this one? Okay, is that what, yeah, that's the reported budget is? Well, here's the thing, man. You get 50%. Well, the things in the movie, it's not the numbers we're talking about here. But anyways, no, you get the half of the $117 million, which is fine, but then 99 million internationally, depending on where it's coming from, you're getting 40 to 25% depending on where you're at. So yeah, here we are once again trying to dispel the rumor that this thing is going to be far and away the most profitable Marvel movie of the year. Well, if it breaks even, it will be, because Black Falcon America, man, which is so funny. Feige's now starting to accurately address that, but we'll probably go over that and a lot of the scuttle with Marvel in the coming days, because holy crap, Damage Control is going to be fairly spectacular. Because honestly, guys, this is a flop. This is a catastrophic flop. This film needs $600 million to break even, because the marketing budget was huge, okay? And it still is. You remember, because we went over some of it, and yeah, there were a lot of premieres, there were a lot of interviews, and there's a lot of merch behind this stuff. I don't think that this thing could have been cheaper than a $150 million marketing budget. So, okay, you throw that on top of the $200 million that they'll go ahead and admit to, but then we'll get tax returns, because I'm not entirely sure where this one shot, but yeah, if we do get tax records at some point in time when we realize that, oh shit, this is probably upwards of a $300 million production, then you got that $200 million marketing on top of it. It probably needs to get, even if I'm being nice about this, $700 million to break even. It's probably going to crest 500. I don't think that is too far out of the realm of possibility. But creeping up on that 6, even breaking into the 650 territory, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case at all, because Superman's going to struggle to get to that level. But like I said, we'll talk about more on that tomorrow. But that is also coming with one of the best domestic holds we have seen in a very long time, especially with superhero films. But honestly, there's a little bit of hope. There's a tiny bit of hope, okay? Because you can make your comparisons. Okay, we have right there, and the most obvious one that's out there, and because Pedro Pascal tried to make it work, and it's so funny, right? Even with all of those different reviews that I was listening to, a bunch of different people talking about this film, and yeah, the general consensus, like I said at the beginning, first act is good, and then it fell completely off the map when it came to good character work, when it came to the plot making sense. But all in all, yeah, the family stuff, the more character focused stuff was all great, except for Sue Storm, who was just basically a plank of wood until she came and pushed Galactus and won the day after she died and then got revived by the cringe kid. Spoilers, nobody cares. But it's so funny. It's so funny how people are no longer trotting out that whole Pedro Pascal fatigue thing. I was one of the few people. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a pat on the back on this one, because I said that, the whole Pedro Pascal fatigue thing is for the terminally online. That is just a lazy talking point. Yeah. For the people that went and seen the film, they either said that he was good or he was well suited for the role that he was in, and yeah, he actually did pull in a pretty decent performance. So wow, big shock on that one, huh? The one thing that's clear about this, he isn't a box office draw. He's not a movie star. He's a competent character actor, and I think that Oberyn Martell gets way too much praising and glazing, but he's serviceable in his role. He's just wildly miscast as Reed Richards. And so when general audiences see him again in a year and a half's time, because it's so funny, right? Because the Fantastic Four was teased at the end of the Thunderbolts with that post-credit scene that was filmed on the set of Avengers Doomsday. That got confirmed. That's not speculation. That's not a leaker coming out behind their Patreon paywall. No. That was confirmed. That was confirmed to have happened right then and there. And then it's so funny with Fantastic Four because, yeah, you got your Doctor Doom tease at the end, okay, or how he's just hanging out 4 years after the events of the movie with Franklin Richards in his room, but he doesn't abduct him, which is strange. You also don't see that it's Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, which is also, it's like you paid $100 million and then he can't even be bothered to turn up for something that might have been filmed at the same time, that they're still doing whatever the hell they're doing with Avengers Doomsday, which is a can of worms in and of itself, but you don't tie it in there. And then you also don't even make reference to the Fantastic Four ship turning up in Thunderbolts. Like, what are we doing? This is a totally standalone film, and realistically, it probably shouldn't have been, because this is going to be your big lead into Avengers Doomsday, because the Spider-Man movie that's coming out is supposed to be explaining, yeah, this is what Spider-Man's doing. This is why he's not going to be in Doomsday. He's going to be in Secret Wars, but he's not going to be in Doomsday because he's got his hands full dealing with Punisher and Savage Hulk. So it's like, okay. Got all of these disconnected stories that are supposed to be a big lead up to a big Avengers film, which is probably going to buck the trend for the rest of these Marvel films, which, okay, Spider-Man is Marvel's most popular character, full stop. He was on the logo for a long time. He is synonymous with superheroes in general, regardless of designation, regardless of company. So brand new day next year, because there's just going to be such a lack of superhero content between now and then. That one's probably going to do quite well. And also people are going to have, name recognition with No Way Home, even though that came out, what was that, 2022, tail end of 2022. So wild that it's been that long, but okay, cool. Go and check out a new Spider-Man film. That's probably going to transcend the rest of the cape shit doldrums that are out there. And then half a year, if it doesn't get delayed, until you see the Avengers again. And that's supposed to take place, because I think I seen a new post out there that Brand New Day is taking place canonically before the events of Doomsday, but it's still going on in the background because you got the other characters tying in. It's like, it doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. But hey, maybe they'll figure it all out because they're still writing the script at this point in time. So yeah, a lot of people are going to be poring over the fate of the superhero genre, and honestly, they're going to have a lot of time. They're going to have a lot of time to do that, and these films, okay, like Superman, Jurassic World Rebirth, for whatever reason, you can just lump it in there because you just slap a cape on a T-Rex. It's totally fine. Okay, like whatever, just lump them all in together. These big movies of July, like they can stay in the box office, they can stay in theaters for quite a while, because honestly, nothing is coming out for months. Like, I was shocked, right? Because I've heard time and time again, like, August is pretty much a wasteland, and September, it's normally given that it's kind of like the midpoint of the year. It's dumping ground for a lot of crap, but honestly, a lot of those names, they don't even ring a bell. You have to wait until October until something comes around, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. Like, you take a look, and the numbers has it all highlighted, what are your big releases that are coming out. So, okay, August 1st, The Naked Gun, which I was a bit of an advocate for the movie when it was first announced. It's like Liam Neeson, okay, he's going to be taking on the Leslie Nielsen role. I thought, decent casting. And then I seen that first trailer and was like, oh god, this is going to absolutely suck. But hey, good marketing, right? Like, that's going to make a comedy in 2025 worthwhile. Yeah, there's nothing worse than a comedy that tries to be funny but ultimately doesn't land. I think that's probably the worst thing that a movie can be, an unfunny comedy, and that really does have a lot of red flags if that's going to be the case. But yeah, that's I guess the biggest movie to come out, okay, and that's coming out Friday. Okay, see what happens there. Okay, Sketch, sure. Freakier Friday, bringing back old bottomed out Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. I hope that movie movie only costs like a few $100s because I don't think that's going to do very good. Like it's, I don't see any marketing for that one. I don't think anybody's really looking forward to that. And Weapons, well, it has a couple of good trailers that are out there, but still, it's a rated R horror film, which it might top out at a couple $100 million, but it's no summer blockbuster for sure. Shin Godzilla, American Nobody 2, Honey Don't, Grand Prix of Year, like that's August. That's August right there. So I'm not even joking. Okay. And then September, you got another Conjuring film, which I guess that's maybe like a month early. A Toy Story re-release. Okay. Spinal Tap 2, which holy shit, man, that's like 40 years too late. But all right. I don't recognize anything coming out. Like I've never even heard of any of that stuff coming out on the 19th, the 20th. So a week later, Strangers Chapter 2. Okay. And then, yeah, you legitimately have to wait. Like the Smashing Machine, that might be decent, but could also be incredibly cringe because that's about the first serious role that The Rock has to pull off where he is the main attraction, and no, you don't have big bombastic explosions in the background, so it could be good or it could be abysmal. We'll have to see on that one, but yeah, October 10th with Tron Ares, and then 2 weeks later you got Mortal Kombat 2, which I am legitimately looking forward to, but yeah, you have to wait until October 10th before anything that'll actually drive people to the audience, or I'm sorry, to the theaters, and it's the third Tron movie? Like Legacy came out, holy shit, before Olivia Wilde lost her mind. So this is what, 10, 15 years removed from a reboot that was already 20, 25 years out of the public consciousness. The battle for the box office in July was anemic, to say the least, and likely with time, it's gonna look even more pathetic, but for the next couple of months, man, like, Hollywood's in deep shit, and honestly, like, you might get a couple of bumps with Mortal Kombat 2 and with Tron Ares, but until that new Avatar movie that comes out, which, yeah, there's a new trailer out, and holy shit, does that look abominable, but that's going to actually make all of the money. So the industry is dying. July didn't save it. And looking forward to 2026, I mean, holy shit, man, we're firmly in the death spiral. And honestly, I'm just hoping that something's going to be hilarious, because I don't think that there's going to be anything good coming out, because the people that are put in these positions to succeed think that what they just put out is good work, and temporarily audiences are applauding and rewarding them. So this is why there is no improvement on the horizon. This is why we're seeing these diminishing returns, and this is why I haven't watched anything new in a theater since Dark Knight Rises. And honestly, that was a bad film. It still is a bad film, but it's better than most of the shit that has come out in the past 15 years. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.